in Australia, in Western Australia, where we've just had a snap lockdown there. These can just come out of the blue, right? And businesses, how can they actually be prepared for this kind of thing though? And then on the other flip side of it, these snap lockdowns, are they the answer to this?
Yeah, well, look, I think it's very challenging for many Australian businesses, and we've just had the Anzac Day, 4-day, 3-day lockdown over there in Western Australia. It's impacted lots of people. Hospitality businesses that had already gone and bought their food, they were relying on what's going to be a big long weekend, etc. It's very difficult to determine how can you prepare for it unless there's clearer guidelines from the governments on what basis they would do it. The second thing the governments could be doing themselves is saying, look, if we're going to do it at short notice, you're going to be compensated. So don't be as concerned about the fact you've just bought all of that stock, or you've got to pay these staff and they're not actually going to work. So there's a big role for government to play in this. And until we get some more clarity on it, it's going to be very difficult for many business owners that sort of feel like they've got that hanging over their head. Should we be going to lockdowns? There's a real virus of fear that's being caught by the premiers, and they've seen it as being pretty popular in terms of recent elections, and they're going to that. Yet contact tracing is much better. Until they do some contact tracing, then they're talking about different variants and all of these sorts of things. Again, it's all getting blown out of proportion. We need some calmer heads to prevail from that perspective so people can maintain some calmness. And look, for every business owner and for every Australian adult like that, we pretty much know what to do. In Small Business Australia, we talk about now, face, space and grace. So if you're too close to people, of course, face coverings. So you don't give it to anybody. You may have it and you don't know you've got it. Space, keeping a little bit of space. And then grace, calmness, being kind to people, reducing the level of fear and anxiety.
Absolutely. And then what's your opinion to this? In Victoria, we obviously were in disaster for ages there. And we know that you saw that at first hand how disastrous it was for thousands of businesses here in Victoria. But that was almost because there was a lack of urgency when it came to our lockdowns. We sort of strung it out here and then we didn't deal with it quickly enough. So what's your opinion there? Maybe these snap lockdowns are better to nip it in the bud or not? Or do you think not at all?
Well, look, I think without seeing actually all the information on which the government's gone and got health advice and then made decisions, it's very difficult to say for any of the citizens or any of the small business owners. It can just be mere opinion. So I think some more transparency and openness with the facts so we have a better understanding on how is this advice put together, when's it put together. Like I was talking with WA Radio only yesterday, and they found out there are 50 people involved in contact tracing over in Western Australia, as opposed to a couple of thousand in a place like Victoria. So, only history will tell us if the full information is made available around how decisions were made and why they were made. But at the end of the day, our political leaders have been voted in and they have to exercise judgment. We can't lock the country away from the rest of the world forever. Until there is a global solution, it's never going to be going away. And at the moment, very much Australia's almost returned to its colony roots. Like that the premiers are in charge. They used to be the governors of the colonies. The convicts were sent out. You did exactly what you were told. And to a degree now, many of us appear to be just accepting that they do know best, yet they don't explain in full detail how the decisions are being made.